You are listening to the postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and, of course, the Glebe Central Pub. Head to the place where the vibes are free. It's the GCP. Get your tickets for the Senators Shuttle. All October games are available at GlebeCentralPub.com. They are at 779 Bank Street. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller and Jack Richardson, and I had to take a pause before starting because the sounds of Danger Flutes were just amazing to hear. And it didn't always feel like we were going to get there. Senators win 5-4 over the Tampa Bay Lightning despite trailing 2-0 and 3-1 in this game. Pilsy, how'd you see this one unfold? You're not usually a Jersey guy on the postcast, so I'd imagine you're feeling nice and spicy.
Yeah, I'm buzzing right now. I mean, that was just an amazing game by the Ottawa Senators. They found a way to win. Last year's team would have lost that game, in my opinion, but this year, a more complete group. They didn't let the woes of the penalty kill, and we'll get into that, but I don't want to start off negatively. They didn't let that get them down. They didn't let an overturned goal to start the game let them down. They found a way to win and hold on to it too, because the Tampa Bay Lightning getting that goal to make it 5-4 with 13 seconds left, not going to lie, got a little nervous there, but they close out this game, and the Ottawa Senators are a perfect 1-0 to start the season. Let's go.
Jack, were you worried at all at 3-1?
At 3-1 for sure. Yeah, I mean, the PK was bleeding. It looked like a little bit like the preseason when they're getting caved in easily. Everything's going in. They can't score goals, but they stuck with it, man. That second period was really impressive and just such a great game. Everyone looked good. So much to get into for that one, but just I'm impressed. It's hard to be impressed in game 1 of 82, but man, they did it. What a way to start the year.
And doing it in regulation against a division rival, even sweeter. Shane Pinto strikes twice. A little Lightning pun for you people out there. And he was unbelievable all night. How about the face-off win in their own zone and then the battle along the boards that ends up becoming an empty net goal for Claude Giroux? So many options for SensCentral Standouts tonight after what was a weird first period where there were 2 fights, a lot of power plays. Both teams scored on the power play. Tampa had 2, Ottawa had 1 on the man advantage. Like, it was kind of nice, boys, to have the game settle down a little bit. And it helps when you're going up against such a high-powered offense that they're not buzzing over and over, shift in, shift out.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. The Ottawa Senators really found their groove in this game. I thought they started off hot, and then I was nervous after losing that momentum of Pinto's goal not counting. I mean, it was too close to call. Since they called it no goal on the ice, you didn't think it was going to get overturned. And then Tampa gets those two quick ones, and it really seemed like, okay, how are we going to stick in this? But then they picked things back up, and the Ottawa Senators in the second and especially the third period, like, they controlled the play in the third period. Tampa had no shots for 18 straight minutes, boys. Like, to keep a team that offensively powerful and that good at even strength to no shots for almost an entire period is very impressive.
Jack, how do you negotiate that stat? But then the second they go down a man, it's everybody can shoot from anywhere as much as they want.
It's a little backwards, isn't it? Like, and we've talked about it for a year now, this PK. Letting Kucherov have that much time is literally the opposite way to defend him. And they did a great job at 5-on-5 defending him. It really is weird. It's clearly just a coaching strategy that I hope they'll fix at some point this season. But you boys are right, because once the game settled down, the Sens took over at 5-on-5. They were excellent at even strength tonight. And I think that's really what we're looking for, right? They had 3 goals, I think, at 5-on-5 tonight. They had the first power play one from Cousins, and they dominated at even strength. And that's really all you can ask for a team where we wanted to see that step. We'll get to the PK later in the season when it bites them, but they were good enough tonight to overcome that.
And to be fair as well, Tampa's power play, you're not going to see too many better than that in the National Hockey League, where Gensel can beat you down low, points just humming around the mid slot, waiting for something to get to him. And Victor Hedman was a monster tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning, noticeable on every shift. And you had to have a laugh at Ridley Gregg trying to finish his hit on Hedman and bouncing off immediately. It was a chippy game too. The hits, they were a playoff style. I updated the graphic from obviously game 6, and like it was 51-49 tonight, the hits. And it felt that way. Ottawa had the advantage there by 2, but there was some chippiness out there and just some hard, heavy hockey as well on the forecheck. And I'm just excited that the Ottawa Senators, they showed in last year, they were able to battle back. In the previous years, they're down 2 goals, shut it down, get the postcast ready. We could have started in the middle of the third period, but it felt like even that Rangers game right after the trade deadline last year kind of sparked them, where they can be down too late. They can be down however the game ends up flowing and find a way to win. We'll get to the SensCentral Standouts later on, but we got to talk about the game-winning goal here by Shane Pinto. Everybody in attendance and everybody watching on TV knew the second that Jake Sanderson decided while he was bringing the puck up, where he's just like, no, I'm just going to take it to the net myself, and nobody was going to stop him. Pillsy, how'd you see that play develop?
As soon as Sanderson picked up that puck with some speed, I knew something was going to happen, but I want to give Sanderson a lot of credit here, because he could have just beat his man and then went for the pass off pads play from the dot. But that's where, and we saw pictures of Sandy in the offseason. This guy beefed up. That's where he used his combination of hockey IQ, speed, and strength to hold off. I think it might have been Radish that he gets around and holds off. And then he's got the guts to stick in tight and try to jam it there. And Bassey gets the save, but Pinto's right there to bang in that goal. But that doesn't happen without the play of Jake Sanderson. And this is the Sandy we want to see at the start of the season, guys. I thought he had a great game. We will get to it later, but Sanderson is just so good. And that play is the perfect little snapshot of the many things that Jake Sanderson does right, little by little, but eventually they work and they start building offense as well. And I was so happy to see that he was the guy that got that play started.
He looks like Carlson when he does that, boys. I'm not kidding. Like the 85 starts to look like a 65, because that's the part of his game he hasn't really shown a ton at the NHL level to date. And we know it's there because he's done it a couple times. But in the first game of the year, he was all over the ice again. And he just looks like he's poised to be one of the best defensemen in the league if he's playing like that. We're biased here. Hedman was good again tonight, but like Sanderson was the best defenseman on the ice by a mile.
No, was he?
His partner might have had some moments. We'll get into that maybe a bit later too. But both of them, I really think, again, like that pairing, I think John Cooper gave them some love pregame, saying they're an elite shutdown pair. And he's right, because they have been for a few seasons now. They just finally got the proper depth behind them. I thought Shabbat was great too. Like just a great night overall for the Sens, but led by Sanderson. He's a monster.
When Sanderson and Zub were on the ice together at 5-on-5, they were for 13 minutes and 23 seconds. The shot attempts were 20-8 in favor of Ottawa, and the expected goals percentage was 74% in their favor. The Corsi 71%, and most importantly, the goals were 2-0 for the Ottawa Senators. Just an elite game from the Senators' top D pair, but they weren't the only ones who had a great game. Coming up after the break, we'll break down the scoring in this game and our SensCentral Standouts. You're listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Guys, the NHL season is here. Now that the Ottawa Senators have played and got the W, we're vibecasting in the postcast. And right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel. Ross loves FanDuel. Jack loves FanDuel. And you should too, because however you like to play, player props, same game parlays, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds, it makes every game more exciting. So whether you're watching your Ottawa Senators or keeping an eye on your many fantasy lineups, do it on FanDuel. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to all your sporting events. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Today's episode is also brought to you by our great friends over at the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is your spot at 779 Bank Street for all your food, drinks, and entertainment needs. Every live music Saturday night comes with no cover, ever. And they've got the Sens shuttle. Pilsy will be riding that thing Monday. Pilsy, how excited are you for the Glebe Central Pub shuttle?
Man, the Glebe Central Pub shuttle is an absolute blast. The vibes are free at the GCP. $18 round trip gets you from the pub to the CTC and back to the pub. In this economy, can't beat it.
It was gross because you don't think you can get there that quickly. And then Sue gets on and puts the pedal to the metal. So go check out the Glebe Central Pub shuttle, have a great time, and go back for delicious food at the pub afterwards. Round trip, buddy. Enjoy the evening and do it at the Glebe Central Pub. The postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Welcome back. It's the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller and Jack Richardson. You can find us all on social media. Our handles are below or in the description if you're listening to this. Tomorrow on Locked On Senators, packed show. We'll take a wider lens look at what this game meant, what we can learn about the Senators' systems, their strategy, and how they're going to attack the Cats on Saturday night. We'll have a preview of that weekend game before the Senators come home. The red carpet will be out. The Glebe Central Pub shuttle will get you to the CTC for Monday afternoon against the Nashville Predators. Pilsy, how nervous were you when not the first or the second, which has been a problem in years past, shots went in, but the fourth and then the fifth shot went in?
Yeah, I mean, Linus Ullmark did not have a great game. He had a couple moments where he had big saves, but I think if you would have told him he'd start off with the .840 save percentage, that would not be up to his standard. But luckily, the team was able to find ways to still win this game, so it doesn't really turn out to be that big of a deal. But I think I was most nervous when that second goal went in, just because it just felt like this team was kind of down and out, but that's early in the game, and I'm impressed and proud of the way they were able to battle back and find different ways to score. Like Artem Zub scoring like that, I did not have that on the score sheet. Claude Giroux with battling to get that empty netter, that ends up being massive, right? Like when it goes in, you're like, oh, nice, icing on the cake. Maybe everyone who had puck line in FanDuel is like, oh, sweet, couple extra green numbers in the account. But that ends up being crucial because the Tampa Bay Lightning, you cannot count them out, and they make it closer than we'd like.
I just love I love the way they battled back. I think that can't be skipped from this game is the fact that they were able to be down and out like we talked about. I know people say preseason doesn't matter, boys, but there were a couple times where they just got beat immediately in the preseason and you could just tell it was done. It felt a little bit like the St. Louis game, like here we go, like it's 2-0 with 6 minutes into the first. So I'm just so impressed with the way they were able to battle back. And it just shows the character and the maturing and the professionalism of this organization now. Let's be honest, like just the way that it's leaked into all the players. It's really special the way we've been able to see that happen. And I know it's only one game. It's a long season, but I think that power play too, I know they didn't score another one after Cousins' goal, but I liked the look of it. It felt a bit different, bit more dynamic puck movement. What'd you boys see from Cousins' power play goal?
Cousins' power play goal was perfectly timed. I even said when they got it, you can't have them get even more momentum off the kill because the power play happened less than 2 minutes after the Lightning made it 2-0. They already had their power play goal. So how are you going to answer? And Dylan Cousins, he's kind of making this a bit of his rep with Ottawa is that when he's a man advantage guy. A lot of his points last season with Ottawa came with the extra man. Obviously that huge goal, the game winner against Detroit in the game where they got outshot heavily. This was kind of reminiscent of that. Just a great shot beating the goalie.
Yeah, and way to go by Brady for holding on to that puck. And he had pressure on him, but for him to get it back to Cousins and tee him up like that, it ends up being a nice play by Brady. Not the only nice play. I mean, usually we're used to seeing Brady being the guy that gets goals for this team, but like we saw, he gets an assist on all 3 of the first goals. And I'll give props to Brady on the second goal as well. That little poke back to Zub ends up being a big play. It seems like something small, but if he doesn't get that, Tampa likely gets that there and knocks it off the boards and out past Zub. So Brady Tkachuk, who'd have thought? Great player, great play.
Well, we knew Brady Tkachuk was a great player. We knew Artem Zub was a great defender, but he had all types of confidence in this game.
Can we give some credit? Zetterlund 0 shots this game.
I was going to bring it up at the end.
I was very excited for him to get a lot of shots, 0 shots. However, give credit to Zetterlund on the screen on Zub's goal there, because without Zetterlund there, like Vasilevsky stops that 10 times out of 10, but he couldn't see it, and he wasn't expecting Zub to just whip it like that. So without that screen, like that's one of those where you wish you could give partial assists or whatever. The guys in the room, they know, and Zetterlund, I'm sure, got his props. 8 hits on the night for Zetterlund, by the way, but that was a nice play there.
Yeah, second period, though, was all Artem Zub. I mean, you get the goal, and then this pass to Shane Pinto. You said Sandy looks like Erik Karlsson. This was a prime Erik Karlsson pass through the skates in neutral ice, and all of a sudden, it's one of those where they have the low camera in the corner for the defenseman, and then all of a sudden they cut to the wide and it's a breakaway, just like that. You're like, what happened?
Well, I thought you meant the replay. The replay of the low camera in the corner was absolutely amazing, because you see, like, you really get a sense for the distance that pass goes when you see it from that angle, eh, Jack?
Did you boys think, though, that Ridley Gregg let that happen on purpose?
No, he tried so hard to kick it.
And at the same time, I think Zub was going for Gregg's skates in a way. I don't know if he was going for Pinto, but again, we'll never know, and it doesn't matter because it was a great pass. I think it worked out great. But and if Gregg missed it on purpose or not, it fooled the defenseman because they kind of start cheating like it's going to get tipped in deep. And then Pinto, I thought he was offside. I was surprised they didn't take a closer look at that. Like, it was right timed perfectly. And Shane Pinto, man, my God, we haven't talked enough about Pinto. We'll get into the SensCentral Standouts soon, but he looked phenomenal.
He certainly did. He closed the scoring in the second period with a breakaway going 5-hole on Vasilevsky, and it stayed that way until less than 2 minutes left. 1:43 to be exact, or 47 to be exact. And my goodness, Jake Sanderson with an elite offensive instinctual play to bring that to the net, and Shane Pinto all alone in the slot puts it past Andrei Vasilevsky, and that didn't turn out to be the game-winning goal, because Claude Giroux's empty netter, we thought, sealed it, but really it just closed the cap. The Lightning tried to loosen it up. Kucherov scores with 14 seconds remaining in this game, and that was all she wrote. Senators get a humongous win to start the season on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Your reaction and our SensCentral citizens are next. Your SensCentral Standouts. I'm so excited about this postcast. I'm going to listen back to it, and it's going to be mistake after mistake, but the vibes are going to make up for it. We promise you. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day. Senators win 5-4. Woo! This is the postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast. And as always, we do our SensCentral Standouts presented by the Glebe Central Pub. Pilsy, before we get to those, you're on deck. I will say, though, you're ready to lead us off here. Let's go through the stats of tonight's game. The Ottawa Senators with the 34-25 shot advantage. And Pilsy mentioned a big reason why. Lightning go 18 and a half minutes without a shot on goal through the end of the second and into the third period. Their power play, though, stick taps to the Bolts, man. They're lethal. 2 for 3. Senators go 1 for 4. Senators snap back 54.5% of the faceoffs. Tampa with an 18-10 block advantage. Senators out-hit the Lightning 51-49. And I flipped this, obviously. I'm too excited. The Senators had a major advantage in the expected goals percentage, 68.6 to 31.4. Pilsy, your SensCentral standout tonight's game.
Yes, my SensCentral standout. Already talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to go with Jake Sanderson. 2 assists in this one, but really the assist on the I was going to say game-winning goal. I guess technically not game-winning goal, but you guys know what I mean, was the big play for him here. But also he finished with 3 shots, 3 hits, 3 blocks, +3, and led all Ottawa Senators defensemen in time on ice. I believe all Ottawa Senators in time on ice too. My NHL box score just bugged out on me there, so don't quote me on that. But it was a great game from Jake Sanderson all around, and just one of those guys where every time he's on the ice, you just have a little bit of ease. You can breathe a sigh of relief and be like, whether it's on defense, offense, in the neutral zone, this guy's going to find a way to get it done. There you go. Thank you, producer Ross, for pulling that up. 23-10 on ice. So although he didn't have the star-studded game like Artem Zub did, Zub stole the show in that sense, I still really liked his game.
And he was noticeable every single shift. They tried a lot to get the point line away from the Zub and Sanderson matchup. And I think even just when you get to that level at 22, 23 years old, that says something. If the other coach is saying, like, I can't have Kucherov out against you. Like, I'm trying to avoid that matchup. A huge feather in Jake Sanderson's cap. And the skating is so fun to watch. He's awesome. And a great SensCentral standout. And usually I would snap it to Jack here. Jack, we appreciate you. We want you to have high dib on who you're going to pick as your standout. But when Pilsy's passes to mine for what should have been the game-winning goal, we got to go with Shane Pinto right after that. Pinto, not only the stat sheet stuffer tonight, but all the little things around the ice. I was so excited about that Greg Pinto and Giroux line, and they exceeded my expectations with the way they controlled play when they were on the ice. It felt like the puck was hemmed in the other zone every single time, and the analytics would show that as well. That line played 9 minutes together, and the shot attempts were 12-4 in favor of the Ottawa Senators. Goals 1-0 when they were out on the ice. So Shane Pinto, second behind Brady Tkachuk in most ice time by a forward tonight for the Ottawa Senators. He's +2, gets a hit, 2 shots on goal. That, if you're counting at home, 100% shooting percentage this year for Shane Pinto. Can he maintain it? I say he does it, Pilsy. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think he can maintain it. And the more he maintains it, the more his dollar amount is going up. The Ottawa Senators, I'm sure Steve Staios had a priority to try to get him extended before the season started. But I know Shane Pinto was like, nah, I think I might have a big year. I'm going to wait on that. But
this is the guy I'm cheering to get paid, though, based on everything that he went through.
Of course. Yeah. We want all the players to get paid.
Yeah.
Let's
but him
make
in
that clear.
particular.
We're a player pod. But he's going to get a nice extension based off how the season starts and based off how we think, especially how Ross thinks his season could pan out.
I said he might mess around and get 75 points, Jack. What would you say the odds are of that?
Well, he's on pace for well over 75 now, Ross. I'm going to be that pace guy in the game one of the season, but great start for Pinto. He was their best player tonight, I think you could argue. There were a lot of guys you could pick from, but I noticed him every time, shutdown role. And you talk about him getting paid. He's going to get paid with his next contract probably, but he's worth it because he's so valuable to this team. What's that record when Shane Pinto has a point? Ross. I know that it was beat to death with like last year, but it's a fact. What was it? 26?
I want to address this because I get that it's kind of become a little much, but my whole thought process when I started this 4 or 5 years ago was I'll stop doing it when they lose 2 games in a row, and I don't think they ever have. Last year they were 26-1-1 when he had a point. That's ridiculous. That's insane. Worth noting. And then when you add on the fact that when he came in the league, he also had, I think they were 9-2-1, and I think he was like 6-0 or something when he had a point. The record now is almost, it actually is more than a full season worth of games. They're now 66-11-7 when Shane Pinto has a point, and when he has multi-point game, they're 15-2-3. So when Shane Pinto gets a point, the Ottawa Senators are going to win the game. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, those are just facts you're spitting there. Like, and when Pinto scored, like when he didn't score, when it was disallowed, I was like, oh man, would have been nice to get that first goal of the season, Pinto. So then we don't have to sweat. We know they're going to win. And then when he scored that breakaway goal, I was like, okay, there's the Pinto stat we need. And then getting the game winner, doing quotations, that sealed it. Even though Tampa made it close, I was like, no, calm down. Pinto had 3 points and 2 goals. Like the gods, the hockey gods would not smite us like this, and the stats just back it up.
And remember how long it took him last year to get his first? It took him like 20 games or something like that. Like he's off to a hot start. I think that means nothing but good things for the Sens. It's great.
Mm-hmm. It's better than great, Jack. I was ready to be like, okay, tough game. Let's regroup. But instead, we're taking all the momentum that we made during the summer of how good this team can be. And we got to see it in action. And I think you want to give a little love to the leader of the bunch with your standout, Jack.
I do. And I really think that Brady Tkachuk just looked amazing tonight. So I'm going to go with the captain, 3 assists. He kind of led the charge for the comeback. I think him and Stützle specifically, but I'll single out Tkachuk, but they both looked great in the first, at least half of the game. When they were trying to claw their way back into it at 5-on-5. Timmy, not to take away from Brady, but Timmy had like 5 grade A chances. That'll be something for another time, but he's shooting the puck. I know we're making fun of Zetterlund for no shots, but I think Brady and Timmy had like 10 apiece between the two of them. So there's probably a reason why. Tkachuk was he looks fast. He looks like he's got his feet. He was really hurt for the second half of last season. So I'm just thrilled that Tkachuk looked good. And 3 assists, another good start for one of the top players on the Sens. That's how you got to score goals.
I think what impressed me most about Brady Tkachuk's performance, maybe not most, because there were some plays that resulted in goals that were fantastic, but I thought that he was handling the puck really well in the neutral zone and in the defensive zone, not making panic plays, but just making quick, smart decisions. And then the way he received a pass that got in on a rush in the first period, that's icing in the first, second, third, fourth, and probably the 5th year of Brady Tkachuk's career. But the way he's able to think the game and be in the right positions, and then the hands, everything's kind of coming together and makes sense. He's 25, 26 years old. He's starting to be in that age range where you're in the prime, and it's all looking so good right now for Brady Tkachuk. He was in a scrum, grabbed 3 guys, was like, hey, Hagel, remember when my brother beat you up at Four Nations? Like there was a little bit of everything in Brady Tkachuk's game tonight. Didn't get on the score sheet with a goal, but did his best everywhere else.
Yeah, it was so many guys had a great start to their seasons, and getting the win is what all of them care most about. You heard Tim Stützle at the start talking to Gord and Noodles. They asked, what are your goals? And he's joked, well, I'm going to shoot the puck more, which he did. I'm the guy that's always on Timmy for not shooting. He did his first opportunity of the game of the season. He ripped it right away. I said, well done, Timmy. That's good. And he had that glorious chance. Nice feed from Zetterlund where he was all alone. Tried a little backhand, forehand deke, but couldn't beat Vazzy there. But Timmy, my point was, Timmy said, yeah, that doesn't matter though. The main thing I'm focused on is wins, and the Sens got the win.
Brady Tkachuk said the same thing yesterday when they asked him. He said, no, I have no personal goals. My goal is to make the playoffs and win a Stanley Cup. So the boys are all dialed in. And I think Fabian Zetterlund's the perfect embodiment of that, where he's still snake bitten, doesn't get a shot, but then, what'd you say, 8 hits?
8 hits.
8 hits for Fabian Zetterlund? Mm-hmm. And there were a couple where Brady dumped it in the corner. How often has that happened over the years where Brady's dumping it for other guys to chase it? So I think that hard-on puck mentality of Fabian Zetterlund is going to really complement that line. And eventually, I'm going to stay at the table because you only lose when you get up. With Fabian Zetterlund will pop offensively at some point.
Shots
and goals.
Okay, good.
He looked good too, though. Like his speed is such an impact for that line. Like it's going to help them just get more zone time so much. And I think that any given night, it could be Brady getting 8 hits and no points and Zetterlund getting 3 assists. Like we never know. And I think we're going to see a lot of fun nights out of that top line if they stay together, and they should.
And I thought Cousins looked really good with Perron, was strong on pucks, and Amadio had that great stick. He did not look out of place filling in for Drake Batherson. You had the Pinto line that we've just been waxing poetically about. And then we had Curtis McDermott, who played 2 minutes in this game. Pillsy, what'd you think of the fight and McDermott's impact or maybe lack thereof in the game?
I was on the side that McDermott should be the one to play instead of Lixell once Tampa put their mutant Curtis Douglas in, and it didn't take long for those two to match up and drop the gloves, and it's just so sad that another lost fight for the Ottawa Senators. And if you're Curtis McDermott, you're probably sitting there being like, nice, I got this kid his first NHL game. I got way more experience than him. I know he's got the size on me. I mean, he's other than maybe Zdeno Chara, or that's it. He's got the size on everyone, but losing fights is becoming
lost both their fights tonight.
Too much of a trend for the Ottawa Senators. So let's hold off on the fights. And I know everyone's like, well, Brady doesn't lose fights. We don't need Brady losing fights. How about 3 assists instead for Brady Tkachuk? Like let's just cool it on the fights and get back to playing winning hockey. Don't get me wrong. I love violence in hockey. I love the fights, but it's not the Sens thing right now. I think we can be honest about that.
I'm seeing in the chat some notes on Sens abroad. Those are conversations for tomorrow's episode of Locked On Senators, like what happened in Detroit tonight. And obviously we with Josh Norris. Well, apparently he was injured tonight. Jack, any final thoughts on tonight's game? 5-4 Senators get the win in regulation over their division rivals in Tampa.
I'm just so impressed, man. I'm impressed based on again, I went back to it again, what we saw in the preseason. Like they just turned on a dime. And I think that's a sign of a playoff team, a veteran team that knows the preseason doesn't matter. There were just no signs of rust for a lot of guys who really didn't get a ton of looks in the preseason. So I'm just impressed. They were able to do it. We know starts have been a problem for this team. And getting a win like that on the road against a team like Tampa is a great start to a season that has very high expectations. So I'm ready to go. Can't wait for Saturday. We'll see how they do against the defending champs.
Ross, can you do me a favor?
Anything for you.
Can you ask what my personal goals are for the season?
Hey, Pillsy, what are your personal goals? Trying to cut maybe 10 pounds?
Yeah, no, I don't really have any personal goals for the season. I mean, really, all I want to do is make sure Danger Flutes plays after every single Ottawa Senators game. Make sure the good SensCentral citizens, the Sens fans, get what they deserve. I want more vibes, more laughs, more good times, bringing Sens fans together and having a successful season. Thank you so much to the 650 plus people in the chat right now. The chat's been buzzing. We do this because we love it. And this is just postcast 1 of 82. And to hear Danger Flutes right out of the bat got me so fired up. So I'm just happy to be here. And this is my job. I just want to do my job.
Oh, what? Are you calling for Levy to start on Saturday?
Sure.
That's a spicy way to end the show because we are going to talk about that a lot more tomorrow. We also will get into the penalty kill because I want to rewatch those power plays for Tampa and just what went wrong. 2 for 3. That is the one thing you can look at tonight's game. And obviously you don't want to go down 2-0 or 3-1, but the power play was a big part of that. and we'll break down what happened and then preview the weekend. I'm going to echo Pillsy's sentiments. The chat is unreal. We appreciate you guys so much. Please ride with us all season long as we vent and vibe our way through the 2025-26 NHL season. This was the 301st postcast, and we want to, just keep it rolling, boys? Keep it rolling. For Jack Richardson and Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the first of many Vibecasts this season. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.